Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to talk about something huge: how to break free from that constant noise inside your head, how to escape the prison of your own mind. Let's start with this really powerful idea. So much of our pain, right? It doesn't actually come from what happens to us. It comes from our mind's nonstop commentary about it. Think about it. You get some minor criticism. Is it really the words that sting? Or is it the story your mind just keeps replaying for hours, maybe even days? That's exactly it. The suffering kicks in when we start believing that constant stream of thought is the absolute truth. So let me ask you this. Is your mind your own worst enemy? Seriously. Do you have this voice in your head that's always on the attack, judging you, draining you of energy? For so many of us, that inner tormentor is running the show, creating just untold misery. It's like a broken record, right? Replaying old mistakes, cooking up future disasters, all on a loop. Does that sound at all familiar? All right, so where does all this suffering really come from? Well, it all boils down to a massive illusion about who we think we are. Let's take a look at the bars of this mental prison. And here it is, the absolute core of the problem. We've started to believe that we are our thoughts. We've gotten so tangled up in that nonstop stream of thinking that we've confused the tool, our mind, for our actual self. I mean, imagine believing you are your smartphone with all its crazy notifications and buzzes and pings. It sounds ridiculous, right? But honestly, that's pretty much how most of us live inside our own heads. Okay, look at this. This shows you exactly where the suffering gets made. It's not the event itself, like being stuck in traffic. That's just a thing that happens. The real pain, the suffering, is born in that gap between what's happening and our minds screaming, "This shouldn't be happening. I hate this." It's all about that mental resistance. So, how does the mind keep its grip on us? Well, its main trick is to completely ignore the present moment. See, it's obsessed with the past to build your story, your identity, and it's obsessed with the future for that promise of, everything will be great when. It's constantly yanking us back into regret or forward into anxiety, and in the process, it steals the only thing we actually have right now. And this is such a critical distinction. Look, we all need clock time. That's the practical stuff: setting an appointment, planning a project, learning from a past mistake. No problem there. But psychological time? That's a whole different beast. That's when you're not just learning from the mistake, but you're dwelling on it, letting it churn into guilt. Or you're not just planning the goal, you're obsessing over it, creating all this anxiety. Okay, but what if there's a way out? What if you could literally step outside of that prison? Well, there is. And the key to unlocking the door is a simple but absolutely profound realization. This is what we're talking about when we say the thinker. It's that voice, or maybe voices, in your head that just never shuts up. It's always commenting, speculating, judging, comparing, complaining. You know the one. And we're so used to it, we just assume, yep, that's me. But here's the game-changing insight. It's not. So, this is the crucial point. The second you start listening to that voice, as if it were someone else in the room talking, something amazing happens. A totally different, higher level of consciousness kicks in. You suddenly get it. You are not the voice. You're the one who hears the voice. You are the silent watcher, the witnessing presence behind it all. And hey, you can try this right now, for real. Just for a second, listen to the voice in your head. Don't judge it. Don't argue with it. Just listen impartially. Notice how it repeats itself. See? That simple act of just watching creates a little bit of space. And in that space, in that distance, the thoughts start to lose their grip on you. Okay, so we've got the problem and we've got the big insight. Now for the important part. How do we actually use this? Let's dive into a practical toolkit you can use every single day. All right, tool number 1 is understanding something called the pain body. Think of it like this. It's an energy field made of all your old accumulated emotional pain. It's like the living past, just sitting there inside you. And when it gets triggered, boy, does it get hungry. It wants more pain to feed on. But here's the trick. The moment you can just observe it with presence, when you can feel it and say, there's the pain body, you break the identification. It can't use you anymore, and its energy just starts to dissolve. Tool number 2 is all about grounding yourself in the here and now. These are like little micro practices you can do anytime, anywhere, and nobody even has to know. Just feel your breath go in and out for, say, 10 seconds. Or just notice the sounds around you without putting names to them. These tiny actions are surprisingly powerful. They yank your attention right out of all that mental noise and plant you firmly in the present moment. And this practice has a name. It's called anchoring in your inner body. It just means bringing your awareness to the physical sensations inside you. That feeling of aliveness, that subtle energy or warmth in your hands, your feet, your chest. When you do that, you are literally reclaiming consciousness from your mind. You become rooted in the now. And this anchor is an absolute lifesaver during tough moments. It keeps you centered when your mind is screaming at you to freak out. Okay, tool number 3 is acceptance. And this one gets misunderstood all the time. This is not about being passive or just giving up. No way. It's the super intelligent act of ending the war inside your own head. It's about stopping the fight with what is. By simply acknowledging, okay, this is the situation right now, you stop wasting all that energy on resisting reality. And that frees you up to take clear, focused, and effective action. So let's bring this all together. This table shows you how to use these tools in the real world, with stuff that happens every day. It shows how you can take those common triggers, a fight with a partner, stress at work, and totally transform them. You can see the choice laid out right here. You can have an unconscious reaction, which is always driven by the past, or you can have a conscious response, which comes from a place of presence. So, what's the big takeaway from all this? Look, understanding this stuff is great, but the real power, the real transformation, doesn't come from your head. It comes from direct personal experience. So we're going to transform this theory into practice with a simple 2-week experiment. This has nothing to do with belief. It's a personal challenge, an invitation to see for yourself if you can actually, tangibly reduce the amount of suffering in your own head. Think of it like a little experiment in the laboratory of your own life. And here's the plan. It's super simple and designed to build this habit step by step. So for the first week, just twice a day, take 5 minutes for some body awareness. That's it. Just feel the aliveness in your hands and feet. Then for the second week, let's add a short nightly journal session for about 10 minutes. The whole point is just to track your own emotional reactivity and see what happens. No pressure. And we'll leave you with this one final question to chew on. Who would you be without your story? I mean, that whole story your mind tells you is just cobbled together from the past and constantly projected onto the future. What if, by practicing presence, you could discover a you that's deeper, more peaceful, and way more powerful than any story your mind could ever cook up?